Welcome to this new video, and in this video basically I'm going to discuss with all of you the applications of potential flows, right? So whatever flows which we studied like just in the previous video, so all these flows are sometimes referred to as potential flows because basically it is possible to represent them with a scalar function which is usually termed as velocity potential function, and that's why we refer to them as potential flows. So let us now discuss with the application of potential flows, and this is the last basically video in this series, and here actually many interesting phenomena which are related to the real world I am trying to discuss. So let us discuss this very quickly. So let us first assume that flow past a stationary cylinder. So if a stationary cylinder is placed like this, and let's say if a fluid it is going to come in contact with this cylinder, okay, so in this case what is going to happen? So see, the flow past a stationary cylinder, it can be assumed as a superposition of a uniform rectilinear flow which is parallel to x-axis, very important, and a doublet. See, so now I am talking about the application of potential flow. So very beautiful things are going to happen. So first of all, what I just said that now we are going to discuss the possible combination of these different type of basic flows. So one possible combination is let's say that if you have a uniform flow, rectilinear flow parallel to x-axis or y-axis, and then suddenly you place a cylinder or you place a doublet in the path of this uniform flow. So then you can realize this, that a situation can happen that you can imagine this, the combination of this uniform and doublet as the flow of a fluid over a stationary cylinder, right? So let us see this, how is it possible. So first of all, we are going to again to the same theology, same things, okay, so same philosophy, that we have to first find out the equation of streamline, then we have to find out the, let's say, equation for potential line, right? So now first of all, let's start with the equation for streamline. So see, I am going to solve all these things only using this streamline equation, but always remember it is possible to always solve this velocity VR, V theta, each and everything using the potential equipotential line, equipotential functions as well, right? Remember this. So now let us start this. So now it is very easy. So you have a uniform flow. So let's say it is flowing, a fluid is flowing with a uniform velocity u0, and then suddenly this fluid uniform flow fluid, it came into contact with a doublet. So we know that the resultant stream function, it will be simply psi equal to minus u0 y. This is the equation for uniform flow, plus c sine theta divided by r. Very easy. And we know that if you go back to our previous slides, previous videos, you will very easily find out that it was something like uy plus vx, right? So v component is 0, so and u is equal to u0. So finally we arrive to this, right? So this is the stream function for uniform flow, and you added the stream function, okay, for doublet. So we know that the stream function for doublet is plus c sine theta by r. So again, don't become confused with the plus or negative sign, okay? So ultimately, if you take the negative sign, that can also become an integral part of the constant. So there are many ways. So right now, just think like this, that this is your stream function psi of uniform flow, and this is your psi of doublet. If you remember, in the previous session we discussed about doublet, right? So you know that the streamlines for a doublet will look like this, and the streamlines for a uniform flow, they will be parallel lines, nothing else. So now finally, let us analyze this equation, okay? So first of all, if you go to this, let's say if I simply take a, let's say, cylindrical surface, right now let me just assume, okay, although it doesn't matter you take cylinder here or not, because ultimately you will see that how these equations, they are going to actually form they are going to, let's say, like form the basis of flow, okay, of discussions on flow over a cylinder, right? So let us first of all try to analyze this. So see, right now I am just saying that, okay, I have considered a, let's say this is point P and x comma y, and this is my theta, right? So y is nothing, y is simply r sine theta, right? Just put the value of y here. So this is psi is equal to minus u naught r sine theta plus c sine theta by r, right? Now, very important thing I am going to discuss here. Now see here, at psi is equal to 0, at psi is equal to 0, sine theta is either 0 or 180 degree. Very obvious. If you put this 0 and this u naught and r for any value of r, any radius r, either here, or let's say even you take, let's say a cylindrical surface of, let's say some or a circle, okay, of let's say some large radius. Okay, so for any r, this theta is going to be, sine theta is going to be either 0 or 180 degree. Now coming to this, again we have one more term, at psi is equal to 0. Okay, so there are two possibilities when psi can be 0. One is either you reduce this sine theta to 0 or 180 degree. Another possibility is, let's say, right, so another possibility at psi is equal to 0, if you observe this u naught r, right, u naught r, if you make this u naught r equal to this c by r, then these two minus and positive terms, they are going to cancel out. Very easy. So finally you will get, let's say, u naught by r is equal to c by r, and this should be for any theta, any value of theta. Okay, so now these two terms, you can see here, they will straight cancel out each other. It doesn't matter what you are going to put the value of theta, 45, 30, 60, whatever. So now finally you will get r square is equal to c by u naught. Now this r is equal to square root of c by u naught. C is also constant, u naught constant. So let me define this term, square root of c by u naught, with a new constant small a. With a new constant small a. So let this term is small a. So now finally you can see here that now ultimately I can express psi is equal to minus u sine theta r minus a square by r. So again I am repeating, psi is equal to minus u sine theta. I just substituted the value of a into this equation and I arranged this equation, right, and finally I arrived at this particular equation. Now why is it important? Let us see this. Now you can imagine this whole situation in this way. Okay, let us forget about cylinder for some moment. So let us say what just happened. So this was my doublet somewhere here, right? So this was my doublet somewhere here, right? And when this uniform flow basically reached around this doublet, so at a distance r, let's say I consider at a distance r is equal to, first of all, r is equal to a, right? That is square root of c by, what is this term, u naught. So first of all, at r is equal to a, then another important thing, theta is equal to either 0 or theta is equal to either 180. So what you observed here, that at a certain r and as well as theta or 0 or 180 degree, this thing, right, this psi is going to be 0. So this is one important conclusion, very important conclusion here, right? So now let us see this. So now this whole thing, you can imagine this whole thing in such a way that, let's say your cylinder, a cylindrical surface, it is placed in the path of a fluid which is flowing with a uniform velocity u naught, right? So the whole situation can be imagined in this way. So we will discuss further on this. Okay, so right now I am just saying that even if you don't consider the cylinder, the flow will behave like this. So we are just actually then conceiving it in the form of a, let's say, fluid flow over a cylinder. So let us see this further. So first of all, we came to this equation that, okay, if we move along this line, right, if we move along this line, then either psi will be 0. Okay, so along this line, though your streamline is going to be 0 when theta is equal to either 0 or 180 degrees. So this is very obvious, right? So either this theta, so this is your angle theta, right? So if either it is 0 or it is 180 degrees, then this psi is going to be 0. So along this psi will be 0, but here psi may be having some value psi 1, for this it may be having value some psi 2, right? So this is the situation. Now let us move to the velocity. This will make the whole thing clear, whole picture clear, why I am always saying that. Okay, cylinder. So we can calculate VR v theta by using either psi or phi. So I am not going into this. So you can similar way find out phi as well. Phi in this case is u naught x plus c cos theta by r. So you can simply calculate, right, this VR and v theta by either psi, using psi or phi. So I showed you both the VR and v theta relations in terms of psi and as well as phi. Okay, so if you remember the previous last two videos. Now finally we will go to this VR. So again, see here I took a minus sign here, right? So according to my convenience, but don't just get confused because of this, right? So you can take plus minus both, right? So now VR is equal to minus 1 by r delta psi divided by delta theta. Now this is equal to, very easy, if you differentiate the psi term, then it will be simply minus u naught sin theta 1 minus a square by r square. So first of all this, then come to v theta. V theta is equal to delta psi by delta r. Then again you differentiate this psi with respect to r. This is very easy. This r is going to be disappearing, and you will finally get u cos theta in bracket 1 plus a square by r square. So the differentiation part, I think you guys are smart enough to do that. So just differentiate this and calculate this equation. Now what I am interested, I am just interested to show you like what is happening. Now very easy. See here, at r equal to a, right? So what now I am interested, now my point of interest is this, that at r is equal to a, that is at r equal to square root of c by u naught, what is going to happen? Very important, right? So at r equal to a, very easy. See here, so it doesn't matter plus minus whatever, but here once you put r is equal to a, this radial velocity is going to be 0. The radial velocity is going to be 0. Very interesting. And then tangential velocity v theta is equal to, just put the value of this thing r equal to a here. So it will be r is equal to a. Okay, let me just check this equation at r is equal to a. So this should be, I think, very obvious that this should be reduced. So what just happened to v theta? Did I did any mistake here? Let me see this. Okay, so I think here I have done some mistake. So let me correct this, right? So let me correct this quickly. So just check this. Okay, so just check the differentiations once, right? So you guys do it yourself. So let me right now just correct this, right? So now here if you observe that at r is equal to a, you will simply take here, actually this is actually your v theta term. I am sorry, I think this is your v theta term. Somehow I confused this thing, these two things, and this is your, I think, VR term, right? And very obvious that this VR is actually this one, right? And this v theta is actually this one, right? So just try to figure out these two equations, and let me just check here that what is the situation here. Okay, if you differentiate this, with respect to, let's say, r, this r term, right? So if you differentiate this with respect to r, then actually here we have minus u naught sin theta and then here we have minus of c sine theta divided by r square. So actually what is going to happen, okay, so this is fine. I'm sorry, I think I am doing a big mistake here. Okay, so just check this. I think I have done some mistake here. So this is actually your v theta term, and I'm sorry, this is your v theta only. So just check it. I'm sorry. So just check it with your previous equations. Okay, and this is your VR term. So let me not stuck into this, right? So just you can very easily figure out this thing, that what is happening. So I believe that here it will be minus u naught sine theta, and then it will be I think here it should be 1 plus a square by r square, right? So this is a slight confusion, and here it should be, I think, minus u cos theta 1 minus a square by r square. So just try to figure out this yourself. Okay, so I think this should be minus, right? So now this, let me write it down again, minus u cos theta 1 minus a square by r square, right? So now let us go back to this. So what will happen at r equal to a? So this is VR and this is v theta. So I think you guys are smart enough, you can do it yourself, right? So now at r is equal to a, what is happening? At r is equal to a, this VR is equal to 0, and finally this v theta term, right? So v theta, at once you put r equal to a, so this will add up, and v theta will become equal to minus 2 u naught sine theta. So now I am interested into this. So very easily you can see here that now this v theta is going to be equal to minus 2 u naught sine theta. That means the radial velocity on the cylinder surface is 0. So let us forget about cylinder. So now let me let's say express this in this way. So we have a uniform flow, then we had a doublet like this. Even if there is no cylinder, basically we are conceiving it in the form of a flow over cylinder, but even if there is no cylinder, you have a uniform flow, you have a doublet. So what will happen, as soon as these two are going to superpose with each other, so you will find that, okay, at a particular radius r is equal to a, this velocity VR term is going to be 0. Very important. So radial velocity, that means no fluid particle is going to possess any velocity along the radial lines. So what does it mean? What does it mean? That means the fluid will reach till this r equal to a point, and it will move over like this. So it is going to move over like this, right? So this is a very important phenomena here. So you can imagine this whole zone where r is equal to a as a solid body. So now this is acting as a solid body, and this is what I was interested to tell you, that even if you don't imagine a cylinder or anything there, so this whole zone is going to act as a solid body. So now you can conceive this whole flow such that okay, you can imagine this in this way, that okay, uniform flow field has been established over a cylinder, right? So a fluid which is, let's say, moving with a constant velocity, it is going past the cylinder, and during this motion what is going to happen? So two important things we note that are down here, that one is that at this line, along this line, the steam this psi function, the steam function value should be equal to 0. And another important point we observed, that the radial velocity at r is equal to a is going to be 0. But see here, very beautiful thing, the tangential velocity exists. Tangential velocity exists. So as soon as this fluid reaches this cylindrical surface, so what will happen? The radial velocity is 0. Then now it is having a tangential velocity of minus 2 u naught sine theta. So it will move like this, and it will pass over the cylinder. Very important thing, right? Now again, these are other things. At theta equal to 0 or 180 degree, another very important point. So this thing we discussed, that okay, at radius r is equal to a, what is going to happen? But again, let us say r is given as a. Again, r is a, that is square root of c by u naught, and we imposed one more condition. We said that, let's say theta is equal to 0 or 180 degree. So what will happen further? So either theta is 0 and 180 degree, then the tangential velocity is also going to reduce to 0. So very important thing I am going to mention here. So these points are generally called as stagnation points. Stagnation points, that is S1 and S2. Very important thing, right? So these 2 points are called as stagnation points. That means here what is going to happen, these 2 points, theta equal to 0 or 180 degree, and at r is equal to a. So this distance is r is equal to a. So these 2 points, there is no tangential velocity, no radial velocity. The entire velocity component, it is going to be 0. So this is the beauty of, let's say, this stream function and potential function. Once you represent any flow, you superpose any flow in the form of, let's say, stream function or potential function, you can use these 2 equations psi and phi to find out the velocity terms very easily. So this was my objective here, to tell you that okay, how the superposition of elementary flows, it can be conceived in the real situation. So in the real situation, you can consider the superposition of a, let's say, uniform flow with a doublet as the flow over a cylinder, right? So it is very obvious that this r is equal to a radius, this circular area, that is going to behave as a circular zone, that is going to behave as a solid object, solid body. So we can imagine this circular zone as a cylindrical surface. So in 2D it will look like a circle, but if you move along a direction perpendicular to the plane of this PowerPoint presentation, that is going to basically represent a cylinder, right? So now, why are these points called as stagnation points? So let me see this. Let me tell you this thing again. So at the stagnation points, now let us observe the pressure difference, right? So why it is called as a stagnation point? Because it is very obvious that the fluid flow velocity has reduced to 0 at these 2 points, S1 and S2. Either the tangential velocity, or you can say either this radial velocity. Both are going to be 0. So now let us see the pressure differences at these stagnation points. Let us try to observe this. So for this, I am going to simply apply the Bernoulli's equation. So very easy. So simply apply the Bernoulli's equation, which states that P naught by rho g plus u naught square by 2g is equal to P by rho g plus u square by 2g. Now where are these 2 points, P naught and P? So let us say I took a point P naught here. Okay, this is your P naught when the flow is uniform, and this point P is on the cylindrical surface. So let me write down, P is a point, never get confused, in uniform flow field. Okay, uniform flow field, or you can say pressure at a point in uniform flow field. And again P, sorry, this is P naught and this is P, pressure at a point on cylindrical surface. Now you can simply arrange these terms and finally you will arrive this. So nothing else, what you have to do, you have to simply put the value of u. So u is given on the cylindrical surface, you can find the velocity u. So this velocity is simply v theta, right? Vr is already 0. So you simply put the value of, let's say, u is equal to v theta, and u naught square is already there, we know that. Now just put the velocity there and simply calculate this equation. So if you arrange these terms, you will find that P minus P naught divided by 1 by 2 rho u naught square is given by 1 minus 4 sin square theta. So what is it representing? Now this is the beauty of this equation. You can see here that at this point, if you observe, the pressure is going to be maximum and the velocity we already know it is going to reduce to 0. So now when this flow it like reached there, this uniform flow field, it's superposed with this one. So what happened just that obviously the pressure energy is maximum, then the velocity at or the kinetic energy is going to be minimum. And again at this point you will come that the pressure you will find maximum and the velocity you will find as a minimum, or we know that velocity is in this case is 0. And another very beautiful thing happening, from here to here you will find that the fluid is accelerating, right? So it is coming like this, and from here to here it is going to accelerate, and in this zone from here to here it is going to decelerate. How is it possible? You can very easily guess this from this equation, right? And you already know that here what you have, this v theta is equal to minus 2 u naught sin theta term. So just take the value of theta and you know how theta varies. Theta is going to vary like this, right? So in that way you can imagine that on this side it is going to accelerate, on this side it is going to decelerate. And again from this equation as well you can guess that if let's say you take theta as 90 degree, so theta is 90, sine 91, so definitely this is going to have a some value, right? So but it will again a negative sign, minus of something, right? So that means pressure here it is going to be at this point, P is minimum and velocity is maximum, right? So here V will maximum. So I think you can imagine this yourself, not a big deal, right? And again when you come to this, again pressure maximum becomes the maximum and velocity becomes the minimum. So you can very easily guess from this equation. Now let me take you to the important thing, the drag and lift. Now I am interested to calculate the drag and lift, very important. So now what is drag? So drag is simply the let me call this as drag. So drag is simply calculated by integrating the force components due to pressure in x direction. So definitely when this fluid flow is coming like this, and when it is going to pass over this cylinder, definitely it will exert a pressure on this cylinder. So it will exert a force, definitely it is going to exert a force. So now this force will have two components, one is Fx, one is Fy. So now this Fx component is called as drag, and the Fy component, it is simply calculated by integrating the force components in the y direction. And why this force component? This force component is due to pressure. Always remember, this force component is due to pressure. So finally we will have two equations for drag and lift. So let me finish this. So one is Fx is equal to 0 to 2 pi p. Now what you did at, since you are talking about on the cylindrical surface at r is equal to a, so you know that r is equal to a, then let us take the radius at this and let us consider elemental area like this. So it's very easy to guess that now this elemental area is simply a d theta, and then if you choose unity length in a direction perpendicular to this, so a d theta multiplied by 1, and you know the pressure is given as P, so P multiplied by a d theta multiplied by cos theta. So cos theta is simply, so this force is along this direction is P a d theta. Now if you resolve this at an angle theta, so this is P a d theta cos theta, and this is very easy, Fy will be P a d theta sin theta. Again now you are integrating this from 0 to 2 pi, very important, right? Because you are calculating the component of forces over the entire cylindrical surface, right? So since these are surface forces, right, they are being transmitted through surface, right? So now we are and again very important to note, we are not interested in body force, gravity, whatever. We are just interested what force the fluid flow field it is creating on this cylinder. We are just interested into that. Now if you observe this, the P term, see this P term is, you can take from here that P minus P naught, we already know that P minus P naught divided by 1 by 2 rho u naught square, that is equal to minus 4 sine square theta. Now this sine theta term is a symmetric term, very important. Now as soon as this becomes symmetric, so this Fx and this Fy, they are both going to reduce to 0, very important thing. So now you see here, see the what just happened, that is the x and y component of drag force. Okay, for the flow over a cylinder we found that this drag and lift force, they are going to be equal to 0. So what is drag and lift? So drag and lift are nothing, the component of forces which the cylinder it is going to experience in a fluid flow, right? When the, let's say when a uniform flow field it is coming into contact with to this cylinder, or you can say that this drag and lift, let's say if you place a stationary cylinder in a uniform flow field, so this stationary cylinder it is going to create a doublet, okay, at the position where it is placed, and this doublet when it comes in superposition with the uniform flow field, so it will create a net drag and lift force of 0. But very important point, in reality this is not true. In reality a cylinder experiences a drag force, and this contradiction we generally called as D'Alembert paradox. So why this is happening? So this is very obvious. We are assuming our fluid as inviscid. which in reality is not true. No fluid can be inviscid, so there is always some viscosity. So definitely, as soon as this uniform fluid flow field is going to come into contact with the cylindrical surface, right? So small viscosity, small viscous effects, they are going to occur near the boundary of this cylindrical surface, and due to this viscous effect, this cylinder is going to move, right? So in actual situation, actually this is not true that the drag and lift is zero. It can acquire some certain values, right? Especially the drag thing, the drag possibility of that, let's say this drag is high, right? But ideally it should be zero if the fluid is totally inviscid, or it should be very much negligible. Now let us move to very important concept. So let me finish this very quickly. So I am basically interested to discuss this Magnus effect. So we observe this effect in our day-to-day life. Again, flow past a rotating cylinder. So right now you can conceive this as superposition of a uniform flow, a doublet. So initially there was only doublet. Now the cylinder is rotating. So very easy, you can guess that this is the flow field is happening. Now this cylinder is rotating, right? This is rotating. So the rotating cylinder, very easy, this is going to create a vortex around this region, right? So it will create a, let's say, free vortex in the vicinity of, let's say, this cylindrical surface, right? So what is going to happen? The flow past a rotating cylinder, now again it is the, you can realize this whole thing as a combination of a uniform flow, a doublet, and a free vortex thrown at doublet center. Very important. So now these are your concentric circles, and now again you created a vortex at the doublet center. So again you can write down the psi and phi equations in a similar way. That is the superposition of this, and now you know, you can see here a very important terminology has arrived here, that is gamma by 2 pi ln r. So if you see this for a vortex flow, if you see the last two videos, so this is the steam function for a vortex flow, free vortex flow specifically, right? So this is not force, remember, this is free vortex flow. So this is simply circulation divided by 2 pi multiplied by ln r, and here it is minus circulation divided by 2 pi into theta. Now again you can repeat the analysis as we did before. You can calculate VR, V theta. You can now very easily guess. Now I am not going into like too much things. So let us see what is going to happen at the stagnation point. So is there any stagnation or not? So see here in this case, basically there is no stagnation point as such. So we can say that for a particular these points the radial velocity is 0. That means if you take this cylindrical surface, so at r is equal to a, the radial velocity is 0. But even if the radial velocity is 0, you see there this term is present. That means the tangential velocity is not equal to 0. So in the case of a stationary cylinder, we saw the tangential velocity that was also reducing to 0. So we refer to this point as stagnation points. So here also let us refer to them as stagnation points only. But remember here the tangential velocity is not going to 0, going to be 0, let's say at r is equal to a, or at even at theta is equal to 0 or 180 degree. So even if you put, let's say here theta is equal to 0 or 180 degree, you can see here this term will always be present. Now this term creates asymmetricity about the vertical axis. So in this case you can imagine here, you can imagine that okay, as soon as the fluid flow field reached here, the stream lines, they are going to move like this. Okay, so they are going to move like this. First it will reach here, then it will simply slide over this cylindrical surface, right? And then simply it will go like this, right? Because at r is equal to a, this is not going to be equal to 0. So even if the flow field is coming like this, right? So v theta will immediately, even if it is coming like this, so v theta will immediately pick up some velocity, right? So now this is the equation for streamline. So try to imagine like this. So you can see here now your stagnation points, basically your stagnation points, should be the points where v theta is going to be 0. So this stagnation points, they are going to be given by theta is equal to sine inverse of this. That means theta is having some value. So your stagnation points you can see here, these are going to lie here. That means your flow field will be like this, something like this. It will come like this, and then it will be passing through this zone, right? So very easy. So this will be your streamlines, right? Now similarly, these are different cases basically. So similarly, you check this. If this is equal to 1, what will happen in this case? So in this case, I will tell you, I will give you a slight idea. In this case, all the streamlines, they will similarly combine to a particular point, because once it is 1, this term is 1, theta is 90 degree. So now your streamlines will come to this point, right? Okay. So let me draw this. So this is your now case for streamlines, when this gamma divided by 4 pi a, this is equal to 1. Now what will happen when it is less than 1? So very interesting thing, when it is less than 1, then the stagnation point is not possible. So it will come like this and it will go something like this. So try to actually figure out it yourself. So I just forgot the pattern, but here it will be something like this, means this will be like this, something like this. So your, let's say, streamline came like this, and then it will move and then it will go like this. So just try to figure it out yourself, right? So now I am interested in discussing the Magnus effect. Now let's discuss the Magnus effect. What is this? So basically, now we repeat this analysis, drag and lift calculation in the same way as we did for the flow past a stationary cylinder. So in this case, D is equal to 0, drag force. So very easy. You just take the same equations, right? So just try it yourself, that take the same equation, P A D theta cos theta, and then lift is equal to 0 to 2 pi P A D theta sin theta, right? And you take the same equation and just put the value of pressure P. So how are you going to calculate the pressure difference? Again, you apply the Bernoulli's principle, P minus P naught divided by half, okay, whatever term you have, rho u square, and here it will be basically now 1 minus some sin theta term will be there. This is obvious, some sin theta term will be there, but now you have this circulation. So just check this equation, right? So just check it, it is not final, derive it yourself, right? There may be some changes into this equation. So this is according to my own conscience I have written down. So just try to derive it all yourself. Ultimately, I will tell you, you will get the lift value as L is equal to rho u naught gamma, right? So this is rho u naught. What is gamma? Gamma is circulation. See, we talk about vorticity, we talk about many things, but this circulation we never understood. We never talked about the, let's say, importance of circulation. That is the component of velocity which is parallel to the contour, right? So see, this phenomena of generation of lift by a rotating object placed in a fluid stream is called as Magnus effect. Very important effect. So this effect you can observe, let's say, when Ronaldo or I don't know, the big football players are there, okay? So when they kick the football, basically they give circulation to the football. So as soon as, because when they kick, then they impart a tangential velocity which is, let's say, like tangential to the contour, right? So this velocity which is tangential to the contour, it basically creates a circulation around the football. Now this football is going to basically swing in the air stream, and this is how, let's say, it changes the direction, and the goalkeeper thinks that, okay, this football is coming to him, or let's say, but it's immediately when it is about to reach him, it suddenly changes its direction, right? Because it creates basically a lift. So this is generally called as very important. So it's, you will find that this football, it slightly raises up, or sometimes it even goes down depending upon this circulation, the direction of circulation, because this is ultimately depending upon the velocity vector v vector, right? So this phenomena is generally called as, right, it is generally called as Magnus effect, and you can observe the same effect in cricket as well. So I watch cricket, so that's why cricket I can tell, like when Jahir Khan used to swing his ball, right? So these things were this swinging effect. This is generally produced by this Magnus effect, right? So when he throws the ball, when any bowler, let's say, he throws the ball, he gives a circulation to the ball, and when this ball is circulated in the fluid stream, so it will start giving, let's say, like superposition of, you can say, this uniform flow, then superposition of, let's say, the vortex flow, and the superposition of a doublet. So superposition of these three flows, it will behave like this, and then it will create a lift, right? And this lift, it actually causes the ball to swing, right? So this is very important. So I am just now then going to stop it here, and I think this much is sufficient. And just try to arrange all these equations and see these equations yourself. And okay, then thank you all of you.